A good evening to you, our viewers that are watching us live from Facebook. My name is Nawakao. For tonight, we have the 11th episode of the Green Talk Show, proudly brought to you by My Tree Initiative. I was able to tell all members uh, planting trees in remembrance of the that were lost due to COVID-19. We planted some trees at a school in Kawempe. We also planted trees at Makerere University. We were also able to give out trees to the people in the different communities, and they're able to plant these trees at their homes. Tonight's show, which is the 11th episode, our topic is going to be climate change and Immaculate, the CEO, and then we shall also be having Dr. Sabrina Chitaka, a practicing medical doctor, and she's also a fellow of the Uganda National Academy of Sciences. She's a senior lecturer at the Department of Pediatrics and Child Health at Mulago National Referral Hospital, and also at Baylor, the real pursuit of excellence. And they'll all be coming in to give us their views in relation as we relate climate change and mental health. But to start with for tonight, we'll start with Miss Akelo Immaculate. She'll be coming up to tell us more about herself, and then we'll have her discuss to us why there should be a need for its ripple effects. Miss Akelo Immaculate, over to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Immaculate Akelo. I am the team leader and founder of Generation Engage Network, where we believe that every young person is unique and it is our responsibility to help them become the best possible version.
I think we might be.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So, at Generation Engage Network, we believe
Yeah.
that every young person is unique
Yes.
and it is our responsibility to help them become the best possible version of themselves. And one of our thematic areas is climate change. We do a lot of climate change work, especially in the rural communities of northern and
Yes.
central Uganda. And today I'd like to share with you why I think that we need a global approach to combating climate change, but also why we have to be very intentional about it. So it's no doubt that climate change is now a global discussion by world leaders, and a lot of people have taken lead, especially the females. We have seen a lot of young women come up to speak about climate change. But the question remains, why isn't it, why are we not seeing progress? We are still having more trees being cut. We are still having more wetlands being
Yes.
reclaimed. This year, I think we have received less rainfall as a country compared to last year, and it was way hot. So, what are we doing wrong, and what should we do? So, I'm going to talk a little bit about the global south and as well as the global north. Now, Goal 13, which is climate action, the Sustainable Development Goal 13, talks about climate action. And our leaders
Yes.
nicely sat
Yeah.
and agreed to designed 17 goals, and the 13th one was climate action. And they even set a target. They said,
Yeah.
well, by 2030, we should have combated climate change. They set targets and goals and indicators, and yet we still see no progress. Now, what happens, and where I think we might need to rethink our approach, is that these indicators were designed and they were supposed to be holistic, but they were not done in a way that fits in the unique situation of every country. And so when you come down to Uganda, you cannot tell people to stop using charcoal and stop cutting trees, and yet over 90% of our population still use charcoal. Even with the climate
Exactly.
change activists in our homes, we still use charcoal. So what then do we have to do? We have seen people make briquettes, but how many
Yeah.
families are adapting to the use of briquettes? I think there are quite few. So the
Yes.
question is, what are we doing wrong? I think for us as a country, we needed to also come up with our own approach to combating climate change. Same to our neighboring countries like Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, Nigeria. Every African country should have come up with its own approach. And the same with the global north. They suffer from hurricanes. We just hear about them, we don't experience it. So they also need to come with their own approach. And how different should this approach be? I'll give an example.
Yes.
For instance, in Uganda, we must understand why people use charcoal. Now that brings me to what is called a habit. We have developed a habit to use charcoal. And because we have developed a habit to use charcoal, we do not value our trees. We must then go back to our cultural norms. And our cultural norms, I think most of us agree that we used to use fire. Our ancestors used firewood. Because they got the firewood direct from the trees, they valued the trees.
Yeah.
So can we design a modern equipment that still allows people to use firewood? Now you might ask me, what's the difference between firewood and trees? When we talk about firewood, all you need is a branch of a tree. You don't need the entire tree down. And when you cut down a branch of a
Yeah.
tree, it is going to grow. I think we have had this. Usually, we tell people, "Oh, you have to be like a tree. Even when they cut your branches, you must grow." And
Yeah.
we use this analogy so many times when our friends are down. Can we use that same analogy in our climate change discussions? Can we design something? Where I come from in Otuke, we have in Otuke, which is in northern Uganda, we have started designing cooking stoves for rural women, where they are able to use small branches of trees to cook. And we have about 150 women who are in our groups. They're in a group of three groups, sorry. And so there are about 50 in each group. And for you to be a member of our group, you must not cut down specifically the shea nut tree. And it comes with certain benefits. One of the benefits being teaching you how to make a modern cooking stove. And these people have come up to appreciate that they need trees in their communities. So what do we do? Because we know that they need to plant crops. We are cultivators, so we are not going to tell you to stop planting crops. We ask for your boundary, and we plant trees on your boundary. So you find somebody has given us two sides of their garden, and we have planted trees on the entire boundary. And that tree is where they're going to get their firewood. So all they'll have to do is after about 3, 4 years, they can start pruning the tree, cutting down the branches and using the branches to cook.
Yeah.
Now that for me is an example of what is called rethinking the climate change approach, localizing it in your community in ways that are not expensive and yet reliable. The other thing that we do is we deal in share barter. And in Otuke district, just a small analogy, it was a cultural
Yeah.
plant. But the thing about shea butter is just not the culture. When you look at the global trends, people are now looking for natural products. especially for us, the ladies, when somebody discovers, oh, there's a natural oil that has no chemicals in it. Thousands of ladies are running there. And shea butter is oil that you can use on your skin, you can use on your hair, you can eat it as food. It helps to reduce eczema. At least I've tested it on two eczema patients, and I have gotten positive feedback. Now, I'm not a doctor, but at least two of the people that I've offered to try have remained my monthly customers, so I can say it works. So what do? I
Yeah.
go back to the rural women, the same groups that I created. You're not allowed to cut down your shea nut tree. When the fruits yield every year, you eat the fruits and keep the seeds. Then I'll either buy the seed from you and process the butter, or I will allow you process the butter, and if it's of good quality, I'll purchase it from you. Yeah. So in this way, these women have come up to appreciate the economic value of the shea nut tree. And so when you go to Otuke district right now, people are jealously guarding their shea nut trees. One, they will not allow you to cut it, except if it is old and it no longer bears fruit. Two, you're not even allowed to collect fruits from your friend's garden. You cannot go to your neighbor's garden to collect a fruit, otherwise it will become war. So they have appreciated the value of the shea nut tree. And things like this, these are different approaches. When we talk about rethinking the climate change approach, these are some of the things that we can do. We need to move away from the boardroom discussions and start localizing our approaches to combat climate change. There are a million other ways. In China, for example, I know that people cycle to work and they have, I think, what is called pedal power. There's a company that specifically provides bicycles within the cities and urban centers for people to cycle to work. Now, they may be doing this as a normal business, but they are actually reducing on our emissions. Are you saying something? Are you saying something? Okay. So, they might not even be aware that they're actually. Okay, they might not actually be aware that they're actually combating climate change, but the truth is that they are reducing on the emissions. And I talk about this more in my book, which is entitled Money, Power, and Habits. It talks about how money, power, and habits are combating climate change. So, sorry, are contributing to climate change. I think you're saying something and I can't hear you. You're a little far from the microphone.
My question is, you've talked about planting trees in gardens of for you. Is there any specific type of tree that you plant in these gardens, or you don't have any specific species that you plant in these gardens?
Okay, so we do very intentional tree planting. For example, in
Yes.
Otuke, we plant the shea nut trees. In schools, we are in about two schools. We
Yes.
plant fruit-bearing trees. Why do we plant fruit-bearing trees?
Yeah.
One, you can use these fruits to nourish the students. I studied in a school called St. Mary's College, Aboke, and they used to give
Yes.
us fruits. When it's mango season, you have mangoes. When it's orange season, you have oranges. Purple season, you have purples, and they would fit the entire school. So you either choose to feed the students, or feed the teachers, or sell it to the communities and generate income as a school. What for us we want you to do is to not cut down these fruit-bearing trees. So depending on where we are carrying out our projects, we are intentional about the kind of tree that we plant. So yes, we plant different kind of trees depending on where we are. Yes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kello. Before you could proceed, I should maybe thank you. Thank you so much. I you that are watching us right now, you could take up these ideas and so that we can find the best ways of trying to mitigate climate change in our country. I'll come to you, Miss Mariam. If you could come up and explain to us what UNHCR is and its roles in climate change are in our country in Uganda. Over to you, Miss Mariam.
Thank you so much for hosting us on this show. My name is Miriam, not Mariam, Miriam Natalo, and I work for the organization called the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, which is the UN mandated agency for the protection of refugees. So basically, that's the overall mandate, but we protect refugees in different aspects. We follow, um, we supply social services, health, water supply, sanitation and hygiene, asylum. We safeguard the asylum space, protecting the refugees who have fled from their countries due to conflict or other reasons. And also we support livelihoods in these refugee hosting areas, to ensure that our refugees are able to earn an income of themselves during their stay here, and also support other aspects including environment and energy, like restoration of the environment and safeguarding and using the energy that we have efficiently, and deploying other alternatives. So that is really my docket. I am the Associate Environment and Energy Officer. So all I do is coordinate aspects related to restoration of the environment and using our energy efficiently, and ensuring access to clean, affordable, and reliable energy for refugees and also the nationals that reside within the refugee hosting districts. Thank you. I hope you heard me. I can see you speaking, but you're far from the mic, so I can't get what you're saying.
Yes, we had you very well. My question to you is, is there any way the youth
I really, really can't hear you. Like I'm trying so hard, but I can't hear you.
Miriam, can you hear me now?
You're still far
Can
from
you
the
hear me
mic.
now?
Can't hear you. Oh, yeah, yeah, that's a lot better.
Can you? Is there any way the youth amongst the refugees are involved in the activities of restoration? Did you get me?
Okay, I had your question, but just partially. Is there a way that youth in the refugee hosting communities are engaged in tree growing activities? Was that the question? Can you hear me?
Yes, that was the question.
Okay. Yes, uh, in the activities that we do as UNHCR, we have an ongoing partnership with the National Forestry Authority, which is the government mandated body for the management of central forest reserves, for the protection and management of central forest reserves, as well as the supply of quality
Can hear
planting
you.
materials to support afforestation programs across the country. Now, realizing their mandate, UNHCR decided to partner with NFA, the National Forestry Authority, to help in raising seedlings, tree seedlings, both that are indigenous and those that are exotic, including fruit trees, which after they are ready for transplanting, they are distributed to our partners, our humanitarian partners in the field that deal directly with the communities on the ground. They are distributed for planting and growing and nurturing into trees. So basically, from the entire value chain of raising seedlings, we have our partners and even NFA, they engage contractors that um, have to engage youth in raising the tree seedlings themselves so that they earn an income. Some of the refugee youth are employed in that. Then when we go to the other side of the value chain of establishing the woodlots or the plantations, we have groups mainly of youth or women that are engaged in activities such as land clearing, pitting, planting, weeding, and that kind of thing. So all those all those activities along the chain of raising trees into seedlings into trees, we have youth engaged in that. So by employing the youth, they are earning an income in what we call cash for work. So they offer their services in setting up these woodlots, and then they are able to earn an income. Alternatively, we have our host community members who may have woodlots uh, set up, or institutions like schools or health centers that set up woodlots, and they may not necessarily have the means to maintain them. So we engage those youth groups to do maybe planting amongst the trees in an agroforestry arrangement. They plant some short rotation crops, which short rotation crops will generate food for the refugees, and in the course of growing those short rotation crops, they are still maintaining the trees. They are providing weeding to the trees, so the trees are growing as they also generate their food. So those are the arrangements and models that we use, aware that climate change impacts and impacts of environmental degradation are not localized by administrative boundaries. So what happens in this district may cross over to another district. So you find that we work in Arua, even when Arua is not a refugee hosting district, but because we know the impacts that are within Terego and Madiokolo that used to be in Arua also affects Arua and the surrounding areas like Koboko and Yumbe. So we use a landscape approach, aware that environmental concerns are not limited by administrative boundaries. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Miriam. You've answered my question. Regarding tonight's topic, which is climate change and mental health, could you please do us the honors of explaining to our viewers tonight how they can relate climate change to mental health? Over to you, Miriam.
Oh my God. I am not at all an expert of mental health, but this
Yes.
is the little that I can relate climate change to
Mm.
mental health. We realize as normal human beings, we realize in the country the temperatures have increased, the average temperatures have increased across the country.
Mm.
Like you find we are in October and it's hot, like the diurnal temperature is just too hot. Like even right now, I was just telling my household members it's too hot. So
Yeah.
those situations are they cause discomfort, and to some they can trigger issues related to mental health, I believe. And look at other aspects coming into play, like uh, the recent lockdowns related to COVID-19, and people don't have jobs, it's hot, they don't have they're not able to easily move from one place to another, and we are it's already hot and we are restricted to move. So even if you have relatives in a nearby district, you can't go there. So all those factors together, I believe they contribute towards mental health. We are locked down in our houses, you know. If you notice at some particular time during the lockdown, you'd find several people on the roads walking, jogging, or something, because being cooked up at home is just an issue. So in that way, when you also couple it with the fact that uh, food is becoming more scarce because seasons are becoming unpredictable. When farmers grow food, maybe the rains don't come on time, so the yields are low, and so the price of food becomes high. All those factors are as a result of climate change, and then they lead to issues related to mental health. In my opinion, that's what I would say. Over.
Thank you, Miriam, for your opinion. I see we have Dr. Sabrina has just joined us. Dr. Sabrina, it is an honor to have you on the show tonight. To start with, I would ask that you help us explain to our viewers tonight what mental health is and how they can go about it. Over to you, Dr.
Hi, how are
Sabrina.
you? Very,
Uh,
thank you so much. I hope you can hear me clearly. Are you able to hear me clearly?
yes, we can hear you very well.
All right, thank you so much. It's an honor to be on this show tonight. And I want to thank you, Haula, as well as all the other presenters who have been here. Ismail, Miriam, amazing presentation.
Hmm.
So, as she rightly said, extreme weather conditions can spark off mental health challenges. And when we talk about mental health, we don't just talk about, severe mental illness, but we talk about things like anxiety, we talk about things like major depressive disorder, suicidal tendencies. We also talk about post traumatic stress disorder. As you rightly have discussed already on the show, there are lots of changes in our climate now. The extreme weather conditions, including rain when you don't expect it, extreme heat, and also in places where they have the four seasons, the winters are terrible and the wind speeds are growing bigger and bigger because trees have been cut down. So, in that case, if we talk about climate change and mental illness, it's really true that if we do not control our climate, if we do not care about our tree growing and ensuring that our climate change is well controlled, then we are going to get more and more people getting stressed out because I was watching on TV the other night when people's crops were all hit by the rain and they've lost food, they've lost money, and people get stressed. All those spark of mental illness. And we need to be very careful when we are dealing with people. People have a lot of challenges, people are sad, but they all need help. Some people just get PTSD and they get angry and anxious. They drive badly on the road, and it becomes a catapult effect of accidents and more accidents, and even sexual and gender based violence becomes a problem, and that can also spark off mental illness. So I think all these things interact together in a way, but you could never tell that it could all start up because of poor environment change and poor climate management. So I hope I've sort of answered your question, but happy to answer any specific questions if there are any.
Yes, doctor, thank you so much. My other question to you, is there any way that we could prepare people mentally for all the changes that might come in and are mostly related to climate? Is there any way we could prepare them mentally?
So first of all, we need to listen to the weather forecast. We also need to listen carefully to the meteorological department. If they tell you tomorrow is going to be a sunny day and your best clothes are winter clothes, guess what? You're
Yes.
going to be stressed out the next morning. So we have to be aware of our surroundings, and we also need to take advice from the professionals. Okay, that's just one example.
Yes.
We also need to advise the farmers. The long-term projections of farming need to be guided by the they need to be guided by the specialists again. The predictions in the weather pattern, and they tell you
Yeah.
that November is going to be a dry spell, and then you're busy trying to plant your beans or your crops, and they won't grow, so you're going to get frustrated.
Yes.
So we need to be very honest with ourselves, but also smart about the things that we do.
Yes.
A quick example is if it's going to be rainy in the morning and you have an interview at 10 p.m. or rather 10 a.m. in the morning, but you didn't hear the weather forecast, you didn't plan your journey, so you're going to miss your interview, you're going to be frustrated because you don't have a job. So we have to be aware that the weather also shouldn't control us. If you're planning to go for an interview, just as an example, you have to know that you're going to use a different means of transport. Instead of choosing to use
Yeah.
your safe border ride, probably plan to use an Uber. Because some people will not take rain as an excuse. There are many young people who
Exactly.
go to school, university students, college students, and they come in with an excuse that, sorry, I couldn't come in time for the exam because it was raining. That is no longer
An
an
excuse.
excuse for missing an exam. Yeah, I have been to places where there are extreme weather conditions, there's a snowstorm, but the train does not stop working. It will come right on time. And so you're expected to keep time. Gone are the days when we should give the weather as an excuse.
Yeah.
Of course, that brings in the responsible institutions and organizations. For example, if my bridge has broken down, I can't move from my home to the city because of a flood. That also puts other people on target of doing their work. Let us clean the drainages, but also let us be responsible citizens and not fill up the drainages with plastic waste, because we do make a
Yes.
contribution to the drainages being blocked and what. So it all boils down to let us, each of us, be responsible and let the world be a better place. So
Yeah.
there's a statement that I'd like all of us to share, that
Yeah.
what is my responsibility? Do not ask what the government should do for you, but ask what can I do for my government? If each of us did the right thing at the right place, for example, sort our trash, don't fill up the drainages with plastic waste, don't cut down a tree that is old, that's going to give you shade, that's going to give you oxygen, that's going to give you a shade. Don't just cut it down. I think if we start teaching that, not only to young people, but even to the younger children, that a 3-year-old should know, this is my responsibility. By the time they get to my old ripe age, they will know that it is each of them our responsibility to keep our earth safe.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Sabrina, for your submission. You've talked about responsibility, especially, I should say, especially amongst the youth. How would you advise the youth out there, especially the fact that you happen to be a senior lecturer at Makerere University? How would you I myself am a student at Makerere, a medical student from Kovab. How would you advise the medical students out there, because you find that some say that they usually cannot juggle around a lot of things at the same time? So how would you advise students as they pursue their education? How could they work to make sure that they can also contribute towards climate action and conserving of their environment, juggling education as well as taking the aids to work towards conservation of our environment? Over to you, Dr. Sabrina.
Thank you again, Haula. I'm glad to hear that you're a student at OVAP, and I look forward to completing school because you'll make a great doctor.
Thank you so much.
Now, the thing is, uh, the truth is, if you're passionate about something, if you're passionate about ensuring that everybody is happy, then you're going to be passionate
Yeah.
about doing the right thing. And
Yes.
I'm so glad that you young people are involved in change making, because you are change agents. You
Yeah.
know that if you're truly passionate about ensuring that our climate is not destroyed, that our environment is not destroyed, then you're more likely to pass it on to other young people, and they will follow you. I would rather have young people discussing climate change than have young people planning on how to head out to the beach to do a, to tank on alcohol
Yeah.
over the Independence Day celebrations. So you have to
Yeah.
get your priorities right. Yes.
Mm. Thank you so much, Dr. Sabrina. We have some questions that are coming in from our viewers on Facebook. We have someone, he's saying that to Dr. Sabrina, how best can we control our thoughts? I think he's bringing this up simply it being that we have mental health as a topic tonight. Over to you, Doctor.
So you know that the idle mind is the devil's workshop. You've heard that saying before?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So if you're idle, if you don't plan your day, then you're likely going to have lots of thoughts, and some of which are not very productive. It's so
Yeah.
important to surround yourself with like-minded people, people who have positive vibe, as young people would say, and people who inspire you. So for me, controlling my thoughts includes reading up things that really matter to me, but also surrounding myself with people of a positive attitude. Honestly speaking, if people have a negative attitude or they bring negative energy towards me, I would rather, you know, delink myself from them, because I love to be a happy person. I also think that exercising is a relevant thing. When you exercise, then you build up your happy hormones. And those happy hormones are called dopamine, and you'll be a happy person. The other thing is, I
Yes.
advise you to sleep enough, because if you do not sleep enough, then you're racking up your cortisol, you're racking up your stress hormones, adrenaline, etc., and you're likely going to become a very stressed person. So try to sleep for a minimum
Yeah.
of 6 hours a day, 6 hours a night, and at most 8 hours a night. Because every time you go to sleep and you sleep deeply and you actually dream, that you can wake up in the morning and share your dream with somebody, it means that you went into rapid eye movement sleep and that you
Yeah.
slept deeply. So it's so relevant and important for you to get extremely tired, at least for 1 hour a day, exercise physically, that you do aerobics or you jog or walk, take your 10,000 steps a day, so that when you hit the pillow, you're really going to sleep. I think that will help you control your thoughts. Whatever you put into your mind is likely going to be expressed in your thoughts. If you're watching horror movies, if you're listening to sad stories the entire day, guess what? Your thoughts are going to be about sad stories, sad movies, my God, horror. But if you're looking at uplifting songs, you've gone to church, you're listening to praise and worship songs, you're talking to people of positive energy, then I pray and hope that your thoughts will be controlled. On the other hand, we do understand that mental illness is real and that if your thoughts and minds are of self-harm, suicidal ideation, then you need to seek professional help and see a psychiatrist.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sabrina. We also have another question that is coming in from Samuel Hans. He's saying, thank you for the show. I would love to ask Doctor, how far have they gone towards climate refugees to understand to understand mental health. He's giving an example of the people in Kasese and Bududa. I think we also have Miss Miriam to come on and give us her opinion, it being that they work with climate refugees in the country. Over to you, Dr. Sabrina.
I think I've spoken a lot. I'd like Miriam to come in at this time. I do appreciate that to be a refugee or person who is displaced by temperature or climate can be a stressful event. And I hope that they have counselors to support them and even mental health experts to support them. It is not easy to be a refugee. I have visited one of the largest refugee camps in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, where the Rohingya refugees were. And these were people who came in from Myanmar and they were extremely stressed. But what was useful and helpful for them was they had all their rights supported. They had food, they had shelter, they had medical care, they had water, and already that made them comfortable. But they also had access to mental health treatment. But Miriam, please add on.
Miriam, over to you if you can hear us regarding the question that is coming in from Facebook.
So the person who asked the question, is that clear to you that first of all, if the basic rights are covered and these people can have access to a counselor or a mental health expert, that their life will be more comfortable?
I think it will be clear to them if they are still watching with us. We also have Akelo Immaculate with us tonight. She was earlier on. If she's still here with us, she could come up and explain to our viewers and tell them about her book, The Money, Power and Habit. If you're there, Immaculate, you could take over and explain to our viewers about the book and how they can access the book. Over to you, Immaculate. I think she's also not here with us. I'll come back to you, Dr. Sabrina, for now. I don't know, is she coming back? Coming back to you, Dr. Sabrina, as we wait for them to come up. Yeah, they're here.
Okay, so I was saying, can you get me now? I think your
Yes, we
network
can.
had an issue. Yes, so I was saying that I've written a book entitled Money, Power and Habits, and it talks about how money, power, and habits are contributing to climate change. Key takeaways from the book before I can tell you where to access it. The book is centered in the rural community of Otuke. It talks about how we develop our habits. For example, if you use a specific kind of toothpaste, you've developed an habit on where you use that toothpaste. So we use that analogy and talk about the shea nut tree and the beauty of the shea nut tree, the products, there are about 5 products that you can get from it. And then the other thing that the book also talks about, which for me is very important, if you are to buy the book, the one thing you should take away is 7 ways that you can make money while combating climate change. We're in a capitalistic society, guys, and money is very important. Don't let somebody lie you. I've had those things where people say, you need social capital, you need intellectual capital, yes. But I sell shea butter, and if I don't have money to process it, even if you order, I'll not deliver. So the book talks about 7 ways that you can combat climate change while making money. I'm not going to tell you, I ask you to access the book on my website. I'll just type the website link here. I'm not sure if everybody, yes. I'll just type the website link. It's www.akelokwan. Akelokwan is Akelok, AKELOKWAN.com. It's just 10,000 shillings. You can pay it, you can purchase it. Payments can be made through mobile money. The first option there is mobile money. You can use Visa card and any other electronic money transfer method. It's an amazing book for
Yes.
you. And I would really encourage you to go read chapter 7 of the book on how you can make money while combating climate change. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Immaculate. Thank you for being with us on the show tonight. We've been caught up by time, so I'll request that you maybe give us your last remarks before you could proceed to the other guests on the show. Over to you, Immaculate.
All right. Okay, thank you so much, Mighty Initiative, for inviting me. It's been a pleasure. I have learned a lot from Miriam and from Dr. Sabrina. It's always a learning moment for me. And I would like to say that it is an experience that I will not forget. Um, I also want to appreciate everybody who has tuned in to join us today. And my last words are the 17 goals. Pick one, run with it. If you choose climate change, welcome to the club of bold and strong women and men who are fighting the injustice of our time to create a better future for those who will follow us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Immaculate. It has been a pleasure having you on the show tonight. I think the young people out there that have been watching us with us tonight have at least taken a leaf regarding them having to, move on to the modern stoves and being able to do some tree planting in their areas. And I hope they can take this up and do some change in their communities. I'll come to Miriam. You could come up and give us your last message, especially to the young people out there that have been watching us tonight.
Well, from my side, I appreciate being hosted as well by My Tree Initiative. I am so glad that there's a group of passionate young people that are concerned about the environment and climate change impacts on us. Well, my takeaway is we all have a responsibility to do, whether youth or young or old, or everyone has a responsibility towards climate action. Realize this. Yes, we use charcoal in our homes, but which stove are you using? Take a responsibility to check the stove you're using. At least let it be an efficient cook stove so that you use less charcoal, and that means someone who is burning charcoal down there is not going to burn an entire sack for you because you consume an entire sack in a week. So use a good stove. Secondly, if if, for example, you are wealthy enough, switch to some alternatives. If you can cook on electricity, please do. Like, don't remain on just charcoal forever. For us who have managed to understand these impacts, let's reduce how much charcoal we use. Teach teach the people at home, even our house helps, even our children. Teach them how to save even charcoal. Some of them, they fill the stove with too much charcoal that the saucepan is up in the sky. Like those
Yeah.
simple behavioral habits, they contribute towards how much charcoal we use, and therefore how much trees we have to cut down to meet that demand. So we have to just adjust our behavior a little bit. Buy efficient appliances. For example, some people use fridges that are very old in their homes, or use a phone that takes I don't know how many hours to charge. All those things, they have an impact on the climate. It means you need more energy. It means like if there is water that has to be turned into power, you need more water to generate power to meet your demand. So everything, we have to think about it in a holistic way. Plant a tree. This year we were privileged to have the Running Out of Trees campaign, sponsored by Standard Chartered Bank and Uganda Breweries Limited, together with Ministry of Water and Environment, where you would buy a seedling via a web-based app at 1,500 shillings. It doesn't mean you're getting a physical seedling, but it means you're contributing towards Ministry of Water buying those seedlings and planting them somewhere. The more you would buy, the chances are you would get a forest named after you, planted somewhere. Imagine 1,500 seedlings. Many of us can afford 15K. Those are 10 seedlings and they are planted out there. So contribute towards these efforts. You may say, I don't have that money, but a Rolex is how much? It's 3,000 shillings. Those are two seedlings. So you think about those things, make a little bit of maths and contribute towards this, because it affects us all, whether you're young or old. That is my last
Mm.
message towards this. Over to you, Paula.
Yeah.
I am not sure if we are still with Haula, but Miriam, I want to thank you so much for telling people to be rich, because you cannot use safe energy if you cannot afford gas. So, to the young people out there, work hard, make enough money, and be rich.
Thank
And
you.
making enough money
Thank you so
means
much,
you're
Miriam.
going to
It has
work.
been an honor
Yes.
having you.
Indeed, a bag of charcoal costs the same amount as a big cylinder of 20 liters, 12
Oh,
kilograms, which will
12
last.
kilograms.
Yes. So instead of opting to buy a bag of charcoal, you'd rather buy a cylinder of gas. Clean energy, it won't stress you with the risk of burning, etc. But also, just to summarize also what I said, that there's thin line between poor climate control and mental illness. And as we look towards remembering the World Mental Health Day, it's so important for us to be critical of our environment so that we keep other people safe. The more we destroy trees, the more our climate becomes nasty towards us, the more the number of mental illnesses will rise. We all want to live a healthy life, and therefore it starts with each of us. Be responsible for your own happiness. Choose to be happy. Select positive vibes and surround yourselves with happy people. People with positive energy and people who have good initiative like the My Tree initiative. I think for me, I've spent a great evening hanging out with all you brilliant young people. So thank you again for the opportunity.